This is such a horrific chain of events. Cincinnati police shot an 18-year-old. The next day, his father unalived the sheriff's deputy. On May 1st, Cincinnati police were chasing a reportedly stolen vehicle driven by someone named Ryan Hinton. The driver fled on foot and was pursued by officers, and during the chase, Ryan allegedly points a firearm at police. Officers shoot him twice, and he dies at the scene. While police say that he had a gun and he pointed it at them, you cannot see it in the body cam footage. Lots of angles, lots of movements. But what police do say is that he did not fire the gun. The very next day, Rodney Hinton Jr., who is the father of Ryan, was reviewing the body cam footage. He becomes emotionally distraught and leaves the viewing session. And later that day, as Hinton was driving his car, there was a retired Hamilton County Sheriff's deputy that was directing traffic around the University of Cincinnati during graduation, and Hinton drives his car right into him. Deputy critically injured and later dies. Rodney Hinton Jr., 38-year-old, is arrested and charged with aggravated murder. He appears before the judge, his bond is denied, his next court hearing is on May 6th, and officials are investigating whether this is an intentional act of retaliation for his son's death.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right, so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Rodney Hinton case. And in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to Black Americans who came out on the internet and talked about the same.
Right. In this video, we'll be seeing a lot of Black Americans stand with Rodney, and in their own opinions, they say that Rodney did nothing wrong, that he stood on business after his son was unalived. Was he wrong in unaliving another cop? Of course he was, but is his reasons justified? Let us know in the comments section.
Right, guys, we have to think about how a lot of cases of this nature have been happening recently, you know. And let's just say in today's episode, we've also featured a few of white Americans who think Rodney was justified in doing so, and they've given the reason why, yeah?
Right.
Let's watch and then we come back with our commentaries. Remember to subscribe if it's your first time here. Also, let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. Let's watch.
They're trying to intimidate Rodney Hinton because they know that as soon as it becomes an eye for an eye, they lose. They are so vastly outnumbered, it's not even funny. And that man did not let them intimidate him one damn bit. And as a father, I respect him so damn much.
Every parent's nightmare is getting that call saying that something happened to your kid. That call can have the ability to change your whole entire life. And this is what happened with Rodney Hinton Jr. So Thursday morning, Cincinnati police get a 911 call about a stolen car. When they got to the location where the car was said to be stolen and parked, they found 4 people asleep in that car. I'm guessing when the 4 people in the car noticed the police, they took off running. 2 of those 4 cops chased Ryan Hinton, Rodney Hinton Jr.'s son. They reported that while they was chasing him, he pulled a gun on them. So we already know what happened. An officer fired 4 times and took Ryan Hinton's life. Mind you, I'm guessing when they took pictures and everything, they found a weapon next to Ryan's body. So the next day, his family got the chance to watch the body cam footage. And guess what? Something we probably already knew. The body cam footage didn't show him pointing the gun at the officer. And we see how this plays out so many times. And of course, his father being upset that he seen that this body cam footage didn't show his son doing anything to this police officer, he took it upon himself to mow down the first officer that he saw. Reality to this situation is this. A lot of people are going to say that they don't understand, that they don't agree, but it's a lot of people that's going to agree. Rodney Hinton Jr. felt eye for an eye was better than just letting his son go without doing anything. This shit is getting out of hand because so many times these people are caught doing wrong and then they get off. When cops do things, they need to be held accountable. Not a lot of police are being held accountable. And people feel like they gotta move now. Again, I'm not saying that Rodney Hinton is right. What I'm saying is, as a parent, put yourself in his shoes. This shit is crazy.
As the daughter of a police officer, the Rodney Hinton case is what I expected. It's what I expect out of these parents, Black people, Black women and men who are tired of burying their children. It is a very sad reality to I can't even say that with an honest face. It's a sad reality to the parties involved. However, don't ask for what you know could be a possibility, and they don't believe that that would be a common possibility. If my children lose their lives at the hands of someone that's supposed to protect them, whether they're in the right or the wrong, give them their day in court. Because if it's unjustified, or if I feel like they were unalive like a dog in the street, Columbiana and John Wick ain't gonna have shit on me. You understand me? And they gonna have to get it back in blood. Because how?
Rodney Hinton Jr.'s dad is why I try to explain to people, especially like the law-abiding citizen type, that they are wrong. There are cases, multiple cases, especially in the case of a father who actually saw video of how his son passed, who heard a story that was proven false, and then saw the proof, where the only justifiable action is as such. And I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, gay, straight. I don't care if you're alien. There is a such thing as a justifiable crash out. This is one of those things. And the unfortunate reality is, in a case like this, look, they're not going to tell you the name of the person who actually did it, right? You're not going to be able to get your hands on that person. So you know what's going to happen now? In order for you to even live with yourself, you got to get somebody. The evil world we live in. But as a man, it's some stuff. It's some stuff, bro.
Rodney Hinton, y'all wasting y'all time. I'm telling you, this man literally ran over a police sheriff's deputy after he was accused of unaliving his son the day before in a routine traffic stop. Yes, everybody's in on it. Everybody wants to know what happened. But this man had to go into trial with 30 deputies trying to stare him down and intimidate him. This man had no remorse. The day before, y'all unalived his son in a police shooting, okay? And then y'all want to try to intimidate this man after losing his son because he ran over one of yours? How do you think he feels? I'm just asking. He lost his son. He is a father. Yeah, you lost a brother in arms, but he don't care. He is ready to take on every one of y'all deputies. He did. He's ready to serve his time. He's ready to roll. Y'all ain't intimidating him. He's ready to make his peace with what he done. I'm just saying.
And we have people cheering this on. We have people cheering this on. And that is how our society is right now. This guy's son was unalived by the police because he pointed a pew-pew at them. So he goes out and unalives a cop who had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with this. And our society cheers it on. Our society cheers it on because in their mind, the media has brainwashed them to the point that they believe this should happen to the police. Our media has brainwashed them to this point. And this is why, if I live to 175, I'll never pull a Democratic lever and vote for a Democrat ever. Because this is absolutely disgusting. I said what I said.
Rodney Hinton said, I couldn't find the sheriff, so I had to hit the deputy. What? Rodney Hinton said, I couldn't find the sheriff, so I had to hit the deputy. This whole weekend, y'all been hitting my inbox talking about some, please cover this Rodney Hinton case. I had to watch it play out because I just wanted to see what type of tactics they was going to use on him. And y'all go in the comments and tell me whose side y'all choose after y'all hear this case.
Listen, I'm not trying to sound insensitive when I say this. I swear to God I'm not, but hear me out. I don't know what it is, but there is something about the way Rodney Hinton walked out of that courtroom, out of that pre-hearing, and all of them motherfucking deputies was in there, which you can tell they came in after his hearing to try to intimidate him. And it's just something about the way he looked all of them motherfuckers in their goddamn face that cleansed my soul. And I am not trying to be insensitive when I'm saying this, but when I tell you, It's not like we don't know and can't tell why they allowed all them goddamn officers to come in there and stand behind him while he go to that little pre-hearing. But the mere fact that the shit didn't move or shake him, that man didn't have his head down. He looked every one of them hateful, redneck, racist motherfuckers in their face and had his head up in the air. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you see a motherfucker like that, with that body language, the facial expressions, let me tell you something about people like that. That is what you call numb, okay? That is what you call numb. When people be talking about they numb, that is what you call numb. And I'm gonna tell you something about them type of motherfuckers that go to prison. You wanna leave them the fuck alone, because people that are numb like that, they feel like you have already took something that they considered the best part of their life. So they don't give a fuck if they live or die at that point. From that day forward, they do not give a fuck. When they say numb, looking at Rodney Hinton Jr.'s dad, that is what you call numb. That is what you call dangerous. That is what you call, I got justice. Fuck your justice. I got justice. There is nothing you can do to me that is going to shake me, move me, scare me, put fear in me, because you have already took a part of me. And at this point, I'd rather go be with him than be on this motherfucker with y'all. So do whatever you gotta do, because I don't give a damn. That is exactly what he gives.
Will somebody call Tyrone? Will somebody please call Tyrone? Listen, it's your boy Rich Ones. If you didn't know, this is Judge Tyrone Yates. This is the judge who was at Mr. Rodney Hinton's arraignment when he was charged with the unaliving, of the deputy in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is the judge who allowed these officers, these 30 plus officers, to come in his courtroom and protest and try to intimidate Rodney Hinton, for his alleged actions. And as you can see, Mr. Hinton ain't intimidated. He got that head held up high. He got his chin up as he should have. But this right here, Judge Yates, Judge Tyrone Yates should be ashamed of himself, because he's clearly a man of color. And I know that doesn't mean anything to a lot of people, but what I'm saying is this. Let's just say that Mr. Hinton didn't take any action. Let's just say that the officer was actually charged with unaliving his son unjustly. We all know that Judge Tyrone Yates wouldn't allow 30 black men to come in his courtroom and try to intimidate the officer. We've never seen that. It's never happened. It wouldn't be allowed. But yet these police officers are allowed to come in here and, put on some type of protest and try to intimidate this man who clearly wasn't intimidated. Somebody need to call him. Somebody need to file something. There needs to be some type of laws change, because we as a people, and I'm talking about black people, who are constantly, dealing with these type of issues of our young men, being gunned down by corrupt police officers and then lying to the review boards, claiming they were in fear of their life, when we all know that this young man was just running. He didn't have a weapon, and lost his life. This double standard of where they get to go in there and say they feared for their lives, has got to stop. And individuals like this need to be brought up before judicial review boards for the things they allow in their courtroom, because this right here is clearly an act of intimidation. It shows that he's biased, and it shows that he doesn't have any morals or any sensitivity for what this man or his family went through. Somebody need to call Tyrone and tell him about himself. And if he sees this, which, I doubt, I don't know, maybe he will, I just want him to know that this is very disgraceful. And he's a tasteless judge, very insensitive, and he should be removed from the bench.
So people in my comments talking about Robert Hinton gonna have a hard time in prison. He gonna have a hard time in jail. What you think this man decided to do when he went and ran that police officer over? You think he was deciding that he was his life was still gonna be going on? Y'all don't see what's going on right here? You think Mr. Hitman, you think that man give a fuck about going to jail, man? Man, that man made his decision when they ran his son over like anybody would, man. It's over, my life over right here, and most sacrifices must be made. Y'all better look out, man. That man liable to go in jail and kill some more of y'all, man. Man, get out my comments talking that nonsense, because if you don't understand black love or the love of a father, then you ain't got nothing to say. All this racist shit talking about how black people this and black people that. Man, this ain't about black and white. It's about that man gonna do what he gonna do, and I'm standing with him.
So, Rodney Hinton, right? His son was a football player down there in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, his son was in a stolen Kia, okay? I'm not mentioning his son's name, and I'm not mentioning the officer's name that passed away because just out of respect for the families. Now, apparently his son tried to run from a stolen Kia with a strap on him, okay? Now, the video that they have, it doesn't show him trying to point a pew-pew. I don't know why this cop thought that, but apparently that's why the cop unalived the little boy. Was he in the right of pew-pewing him? I don't think so, but like I said, the pew-pew is going to be justified.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, yeah? You know, a lot of people on the internet were saying that you really cannot compare a colleague to a family member, especially if that family member is your son, because they've said he is 38 years old and his son was 18 years old. So when you do the calculations, you could say he got his son when he was 20 years old, and for him to stick around and raise his son to a point where the son turned of age and became 18 years old, it means he really invested a lot of time, a lot of love into that child, and he really loved his son, you know.
Right. And also a lot of people on the internet are saying, of course, the son was found with a gun, but it is not sure that the gun was even his, or was the gun planted on him, since on the CCTV footage that was shown,
but body cam.
Right. On the body cam that was shown, never once did they see the kid pew at the cup, you know. And now the biggest question...
I do feel like if you're talking about criminals and them carrying pews, they definitely, if they're going to commit a crime, they intend on using their pews, you know. So it doesn't even make sense that they said that he was found with a pew, yet on the CCTV, it didn't even show him being violent, you know.
Right. And you know, now the biggest question that is being asked is, how do we find the balance between these cases, and how does or will the government step in to find a balance? Because if the police allegedly keep using such kind of force on innocent people, and parents like Rodney continue to come up, because these cases have been coming rampant on the internet of late. How will the government find balance, and will they hold police officers accountable for reckless unalivings of citizens?
Right, because I feel like this problem is slowly becoming a cancerous tumor, and if not treated, it's gonna eat away at American society, because when you fail to curb a situation, or when you fail to hold preventative measures, so that when someone does something, they're held accountable, those cases are gonna spiral out of control, you know. You can't just unalive everybody who looks different from you with the excuse of, I was afraid because I thought they had a pew, or because of this, that, and the other, you know. And you know, another thing I noted was the fact that can we talk about that judge and why I feel like he needs to be reviewed, because someone gave a very good example, yeah. When there was a black person who unalived his son, would he have allowed black people to come and intimidate, you know? There's someone who gave an example of him, if he would have allowed black people to come into his courtroom to try and intimidate if the roles were reversed, you know. And you see that Rodney, imagine you're going to trial, you're supposed to be
burying your child,
you're supposed
and at the same time, most people, I don't know if how many of you guys saw the footages from the courtroom. His lawyer argued that at the time where he committed the crime, his mind wasn't right,
and I do believe that to be true.
Right, because in the same courtroom footages, I beg of you, please, if you've not seen it, please go and see it. That person was also saying in the same courtroom footages, right? Witnesses, even people from the precinct, said that when he was brought in to view the body cam footages, he wasn't even allowed to drive the car he came in with by his family members, because he was so distraught he couldn't even think straight. So his family members had to drive him to their home and stay with him there. And then the next day, he was supposed to come back and pick up his vehicle. And this is when he unalived that other police officer. Just seeing and imagining one of them people in the uniform could have unalived your kid. So his lawyer argued that he wasn't in his right mind, mind frame, and he wasn't denying that his client did the crime, but he was asking the court to charge him as an insane, momentarily insane person under the time which he committed the crime.
Right, guys, I kid you not, if it was a white man who had lost his 18-year-old son to a black man, I feel like if it had happened in the same fashion, but you reverse the races, they would have said that the white man was momentarily insane, and they would have gone with that argument, and they would have shown him
They'd have
leniency,
found
you
a
know.
way to show him compassion, especially at his time of grieving.
Exactly, but I do say they both have been marked, because at the end of the day, like, you can really never fathom the thought of losing a child. Personally, I feel like losing a friend is normally difficult on people. Losing a family member is very difficult. A grandmother is very difficult. So you picture that you have lost your own child who was 18 years old becoming an adult, because I do believe at 38 years old, you've raised your child and you've definitely pictured him starting a family and probably him being the one to bury you, It would have been okay, it would have been a little bit bearable or not if he would have died of sickness or any other thing, not that
Natural causes,
of course, not that he'd been unalived in the street by a officer, So anyway, and the deputy, much as the sheriff, they're not releasing his name. Even if the public is not told who it is, I feel like that has marked that precinct forever, because the person who did the action will forever know that his deputy was unalived because of his actions, And that is something they'll have to live with. But I feel like these people, like, nothing touches them, only that, how dare he do this to one of our own? And that is why they all had to spare the whole day of their time to just take a moment to go to the courtroom in order to intimidate Rodney,
Right, guys, let us know what you think about this story. Personally, I do feel like of course, Rodney shouldn't have taken matters into his own hands, but in cases like this, we also do understand that more often than not, police officers don't usually get convicted for such crimes, So right now, it's a question of balance. Where does the balance come in?
Where does the balance come in? And I have a feeling like a lot more cases of this nature are gonna happen, because I heard someone say, can you imagine if they dared showed up in the courtroom in order to intimidate him, like 30 people?
I feel like they wanted to make a statement so that the public can see how they handle this one case, so that
no other
there
person should
ever
dare.
be another person who wants to take matters into their own hands, they should never dare.
Yeah, so guys, imagine 2 officers were not enough, 3 were not enough, 10 were
30.
not enough. They took 30 officers to go to court and try
to handle one person in handcuffs.
Right, so you can imagine, should he get convicted?
There are real criminals, because this one wasn't a criminal. Well,
he doesn't. Okay, we don't, not that we know of any criminal history.
It said that he had a few charges here and there, but this one wasn't like. Okay, the crime that he committed was serious, but we've seen worse people like Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy is the kind you parade like this and intimidate, not... Anyway, let's just leave it to the justice system, guys, and let us know what you think about this episode, and we'll see you on our next episode. Kindly consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. See you then.